Hey everybody, Mean Joe back again for day 2 of Toledo 2020, the experience. This morning, we're going to start off with Kyle from the education department at the AMA and Mandy, the foundation director from the AMA as well. So good morning, you guys. How we doing?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Good.
Awesome.
Good. So I know you guys have kind of been following along. We're basically just trying to give everybody a little bit of what they would have got at Toledo without actually being there. We want to make sure everybody's staying safe, but also able to get it on and have some entertainment and get some information and stuff that they maybe could have gotten at Toledo. And also for our folks that don't live in the Midwest area that aren't able to attend Toledo, I think it's nice to have something going that we can actually get with them and let them experience a little bit of what Toledo's all about as well. Yeah. So where do you guys want to start this morning? 1, 2, 3, go.
Go ahead, Mandy. Lead off. Ladies first.
I could talk about some of the things the foundation is working on right now. We are, during this time where we're at home, we are keeping connected to our donors as much as possible. I've been reaching out and just making phone calls, making sure everybody's doing well. I've been really impressed with my fellow coworkers that it was literally work from home, and everyone jumped on board, and everyone really cares about our members and making sure that our services stay up, including those of us with the foundation. So we're continuing our work focusing on our main campaign right now, which is our Where Will You Land campaign, which is a naming opportunities campaign that is raising money for the AMA Foundation endowment. And what the endowment is basically a long-term fund where people can give to the fund, and the money basically goes into a principal, and only the interest can be spent. The thought being that 10, 20 years from now, we'll continue to have money available for all our programs, because as Kyle probably will get into a bit, our programs keep growing. We keep finding ways to make model aviation a great asset in the education community. We have a wonderful model aviation museum. We are providing more and more funding for our club, our clubs in ways with grants and support for their own education programs. And then, of course, we've surpassed the $1 million mark a couple of years ago in scholarships. And we want to continue to do that for as long as possible and continue growing. So this naming opportunities campaign gives people the chance to put their name on something at the International Air Modeling Center. This is open to not only individuals, but also to companies or clubs, whomever is looking to put their name on the site. And part of the campaign is a video series that we worked with the Ball State telecommunications program to put together. There were groups of students that worked as teams, and they put together 3 videos for the endowment campaign, and then another one for later in the year. And we just actually premiered the first one. So if you go to modelaircraft.org/land, you can see the first video, which actually features some of our own control line pilots, as you can see. Those guys, I called Chris, who's shown here, and I said, hey, we need some control line pilots, and they were pumped. So he said, yeah, I'll get you 20 guys. Let's get this going.
They're really excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you guys that haven't watched those videos yet, they're pretty awesome. The first one is really well done. They did a really good job. And I see the second release date is going to be on May 15th, and then another release date on June 15th. They're actually really, really cool if you haven't had a chance to check them out yet.
Yeah. We're really grateful for the students that put those together. They did everything. They filmed, they produced, they did all the lighting and the scripts, all of it.
Stuff too. Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And
It's neat to see the younger kids doing the old school, Western spaghetti Western type theme. I thought that was really, really funny.
yeah, when they brought that concept to me, they thought I would say no, and I was like, nope, do it.
They didn't know you very well, did they,
They
man?
didn't know me very well. I am all about that creativity. So, yeah, we encourage you to watch those videos. We did release that one on April 1st because it's pretty funny. But yeah, please check that out. We will be doing a mailing later in the year to select individuals, giving them the opportunity to see a brochure. We will have those available for everyone in the near future. But yeah, for now, just check out the website and see how you can support. You can also just make a direct donation to the endowment fund if you wish. In August, September, that's usually our annual campaign time, and that's an option that you can give to.
So part of what Mandy was talking about is shown, and I've got a lot of windows open, so I'm trying to get to the right one here. This is kind of what she's talking about. If you haven't checked this out yet, as a leader member, these are things that I'm always on and always checking out. They have opportunities with the naming the opportunities at the International Aero Modeling Center, and you can see here you can pick where you want. So like they have Flying Site 1, Flying Site 5. AMA RV camping. There's all kinds of slots available where you can actually have a section of the National Model Aviation Center named and your name, which is really kind of cool. And the amount of visitors we get each year, and we've got people coming in from all over the world that would see that, and it's also not only that, but it also really helps the foundation to do what they do, which is to help support everything we do outside of not just including the STEM programs and all of the educational programs and stuff, but it also supports all the other stuff that AMA gets involved in as a nonprofit.
Yeah, it's a huge help. I mean, just speaking on the education side of things, like we couldn't do our job half as well if it weren't for the support of the foundation. So I guess from me to Mandy and her team, thanks.
Yeah.
And honestly, on behalf of everybody that we help out too, from scholarships, Mandy mentioned that, we surpassed $1 million in scholarships. Right now, we've gotten a great batch of scholarships this year already. So that deadline's passed, but the next round is already up and open, so you can apply for next year. But it's going through committee right now. They're reviewing them, and they've reached out to me and said it's a hard job because they're all so good. It's a really, really great thing.
Yeah, it's really cool, all the stuff that we can do. And it's for somebody that lives close enough to the AMA to be able to get down there and see some of these programs take fruition. It's really kind of cool to see how hard that whole thing works. A lot of our membership don't really understand how all of this works. And the events that they put on, and I know we've done the Warrior event for a couple years, and we do the educational events, and we do the National Model Aviation Day. The amount of people that show up for those things and the amount of kids that show up for those things is huge. Not only, that's one of the coolest places on the planet for anybody that's RC involved, because that is where the National Model Aviation Museum is, and it's something to go check out. We talked about that the other day on the shop time here with Kyle, and it's really, really kind of cool to have involvement from all the people that we do.
Yeah, we can't stress how important donor support is. And one of the other things we're working on right now is actually a strategic plan for the National Model Aviation Museum. So a group of us, Kyle and I are on the group that are working on that. And, we got a grant to start that process. But what comes from that will be dependent on donor support. Our patrons are really important to everything we do in the museum. So if I can ever say anything, if I were at Toledo, I would be walking around thanking everyone for helping us make the progress that we have, because it literally is because of our donors.
Right. And also one of the things that I wanted to bring up, because I get a lot of questions. I'm not sure. Oops, we lost Kyle.
Oh.
Bye, Kyle. I'm sure he'll be back. One of the things I get a lot is about memberships. A lot of people are asking questions about how memberships. I'm going to make sure Kyle knows he left. because he may not know. There he comes.
Hey,
There he is. There he is. Ta-da!
Hey, guys.
So one of the things that I think is important for people to understand, especially now with all this whole social distancing thing and some of these larger events getting canceled, I've heard a lot of people say, and I want to stress this because it's important to all of us, that okay, well, since they're canceling all their events and I can't go to my field, then I'm not going to renew, or I'm going to cancel my membership. That is the worst plan I have ever heard of, because this is the thing. Number one, what we're dealing with now as a world basically is temporary. They're going to get a fix. You know, this isn't the zombie apocalypse that everybody thinks it is. It will pass, and once it passes, we need to have the support and the structure behind the AMA. Your AMA dues pay for everything that happens inside the hobby underneath the AMA umbrella. A lot of people don't understand how much goes into, you know, we've got the FAA thing going on. Tyler Dobbs and his team working real hard to make sure that we keep our rights as model aviators, and the staff and the museum and the, you know, all the things that we do. Yes, AMA gets a lot of donations from outside entities, a lot of donations from, I know Mandy is working a lot on the donations that come into the museum and going out and finding stuff, and people call and say, hey, you know, this person has passed and we'd like to donate their stuff. So that stuff's all donations, but everything else, the day-to-day operations of the AMA is all taken care of by our memberships. So we got to make sure that we support the AMA as much as possible. I talked about this the other day. Right now, you can go on to AMA's website, swing over by the shop and buy stuff from the gift shop. Just because you can't visit the site right now, that helps support us as AMA, because that money all goes back in to help support what they do there. It helps them support the hobby, and then that we can grow the hobby with programs like the foundation and the education folks to make sure that we get the people that we need to get in the hobby while they're young and can still enjoy it.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been surprised too, just getting some calls from membership, you know, with everything that's going on in the world these days. And maybe to echo Mandy's point of how nimble we've actually been, you know, not to pat ourselves on the back, but I've been impressed. You know, when we get a call and I pick up and they say, wow, you're actually in the office. Actually, no, you know, we're forwarding calls. I'm working from my home office, you know, and, you know, having some really great conversations with members in this time, you know, and sometimes we all need to reach out and do that a little bit and help each other out through this crazy time. But to echo your statements, Joe, really, I mean, we do need the support as the AMA organization, you know, to continue the fights that we are doing, especially with government advocacy, to continue to support families and members who are stuck at home in the hobby, you know, finding ways to stay with it, to have fun. You know, right now we could all use a little bit of fun, and this is a great hobby for that. So
I wish I had my podcast or my music set up to, I believe the children are the future. So I could have hit that right when you said that.
There we go. There we go. And it's not just the children too, you know, in the education department, we're really, so the first push we did when all this stuff went down was, you know, I brought my team together and said, look, we've got to find really quick, easy projects for people to do at home. You know, we're stuck home. I mean, my two kids are stuck at home, you know, and find ways to pivot and offer training opportunities and educational opportunities to those kids that are stuck at home. And we were able to knock out a lot of that stuff, and it's still coming. But if you go to amaflightschool.org/quick projects, we've got a lot of projects that we've kind of repurposed and added a little bit of a twist on to make it more palatable in the home, in the living room, in the hallway, that kind of thing. You know, so we've got everything from FPG 9s to, like, Claire's put together some rocket balloons, rocket mouse, all these kinds of quick activities that you should be able, if you've got a little bit of creativity, find the materials to do in the house. And quite frankly, we've been pushing this past just our membership to just families everywhere. You know, I mean, I've been pretty ringing the bell, even just in my school district, you know, hey, teachers, check this out. These are resources. you'll see there, like the paper model planes. Those are so cool, man.
Oh my gosh, those things are so cool. The boys had those on the other day when we had them on, and they are the coolest thing ever. If you got, well, you do have some time, so get on here and download these and print them out. They are super cool. I mean, they turned out really good.
And big shout out to General Mills. It's kind of one of those things I stumbled across online and thought, I guess it's worth reaching out and asking if we can use these. And the archivists at General Mills were like right on it. Like, yes, we'd love to share this with you. Not a problem. We're working from home too, but run with it, go. So big shout out to General Mills. These things started out in 1944 as a promotion for Wheaties. They needed to sell a few more Wheaties. So they said, hey, you buy a couple boxes of Wheaties, send us the UPCs or whatever they were back then. And, we'll send you these planes. 2 of them came in each pack. And
they are super cool.
Yeah,
I was like, those are awesome. The boys had those, and I honestly, until I showed that link on there, I didn't know that you guys had those on there already. So I'm excited. I'm going to be doing that this afternoon. I'm not going to lie to you.
Awesome. That's great. And we're continuing to push more content on there, throughout. But so that was the biggest first push, right? Trying to get stuff out to keep people sane and happy and learning. The next push is going to be more towards, the membership, trying to find ways to include them in conversations, trying to find opportunities to share content, to produce content, to do some how-tos, to really come alongside of people from a distance in this, at least for now, new norm, and say, let's sit down together in front of these screens and enjoy watching something that someone's produced, or enjoy, watching us build, a stick 40, for instance. Like, Joe,
exactly.
He's sending up, I don't know if you knew this, Mandy, Joe's sending a stick 40 to each of the boys to build. And so I'm excited too, because it's like I haven't gotten balsa dust everywhere in probably 25 years. Like, honestly, it's been that long. So I'm pretty jazzed. I'm here in my shop today, trying to do some cleanup, organization, make sure all the benches are cleared for them. So
I have a lot of it right here on my computer. If you want some of it, there's a lot of it here.
It's like the magic pixie dust. Just
I got that stuff everywhere, man. So yeah, and it's very cool. Having the boys on was really pretty awesome, and I love to see that the kids are getting involved. This other project here, I did this one the other day with my 3-year-old granddaughter, and she loved it. It was a lot of fun. I wish I would have thought to make it a race so we could set up 4 of them and race them. But she had fun. She enjoyed it. We got the pump out and pumped up the balloons and shot them across the room. And we actually started last night. We started a folding project like what the planes are, and it comes out to be a fish. It's a clownfish.
Perfect.
So yeah, that kind of stuff is awesome for kids to get started with. And anything that we can do, honestly, to get them involved in the love of aviation is go for it. That's how I got started in all this. My father used to take me to the Ghost Squadron Air Force shows back when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I got my love of aviation, and I've been into it ever since. So
that's really cool. Yeah, I think I got the, what do they call it? Getting the bug. I think that happened for me when I was about 11 years old. The local model club, Tri-County Aero in Southern Indiana, they held a Delta Dart build. And so, they had it at Gregg Park, which is the big park in Vincennes, Indiana. I went out there, my parents drugged me out and built this thing, had a lot of fun, and from that point on, I was like, yeah, give me more. This is fun. I want to do this. And I built a Spirit and a Gentle Lady, and started with high start, sailplane stuff. It's an awesome hobby. And if it gets started with the balloon rockets, if it gets started with a Delta Dart, if it gets started with one of those, paper planes, whatever it is, to see something that these kids pour some time and energy into, and it can be really fast, like a paper airplane. My kids will throw a paper airplane all day. And part of it is that they made it, right? They built this thing, and all of a sudden the magic of flight happens, and it's working for them. And they're like, yes, give me more of that. That's awesome. I want that positivity. I want that reinforcement. And that's really, in some ways, I've got the easiest job in the world. Like, teach a kid to fly a little plane, and then teach them further and further, build on those blocks. And I've got such a wide range of talent and people who can jump in and step out and volunteer to support me. And because we all see that vision, we all see how important it is and how rewarding it is. And it's an awesome place to be.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we talked about the other day. I think I can't remember. I've done so many of these in the last 48 hours. I can't remember who all I've talked to about what. But
Right.
I know for sure what me and Chad were talking about. That's one of the things we talked about. Is
Mhm.
I really hope we can come to some. And I want to start off by saying I think we will. I think we'll come into some common ground with this whole FAA thing because I think they're going to realize that the love of aviation starts off when they're young. If we
Yeah.
can get them started on aviation when they're young, then they move into. I mean, look at a guy like RC Gritter
Mhm.
or RJ Gritter
Okay.
and Matt Chapman, and those guys have all grown into a career in aviation based on that they got their bug and they caught it, and it was all about the aviation side of it, and now they're doing it for a living.
And
Most
you have
of
to
those
assume
guys.
that there's a lot of people, even in the FAA, that we've had problems with, as an organization because of certain different aspects. I won't get into all that, but
Right.
I think for the most part, the people get it. People that are exposed to it, that take even just a few minutes to think about it, see the positivity that results in what we do. They really do get it. And after they get that, they become advocates for us. And so the more people we reach out to, the more time that we devote to this, to really educating these people, the better off we are. And like you, I see a lot of opportunity. I see a lot of positivity moving forward, especially, I mean, my goodness, from everybody jumping in, even with this most recent thing. And I don't mean to turn this into a government thing. I'm out of my league here, but when it comes to like 50,000 comments on a proposed rulemaking, like that's insane. Like that we had that much of a groundswell from general aviation too. AOPA, EAA jumping in and having our backs and really saying like, look, these guys aren't the problem. It goes a long way, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to see a lot more of that type of stuff going on. I know I mentioned to Chad on air the other day that it would be cool to see the AMA host some type of a EAA / APOA / AMA event and try to get some of the FAA folks, the local FAA folks, to come down and just spend the day with us. Let us stick them with Tyler. Let Tyler talk to them all day.
Yeah, and we've done a few. And honestly, the FAA has engaged in a few of those things. They've come out to some of the expos. They've been at some of the larger events. Of course, we try to catch up to them up at Oshkosh for Air Venture when we're up there. And I think every time we reach out to them that I've witnessed, they walk away with a better understanding.
Oh, Kyle locked up again. That's a great screenshot of him, though. Look at that. That's awesome. Sorry, buddy. So, yeah, I mean, and I'm sure he'll be back after he figures out he's locked up. He's probably talking to himself right now. So what's your take on all that, Mandy?
I agree. I mean, we've set up all kinds of different club visits with the FAA, with groups to come out. We've put them on a buddy box, on a trainer plane, given them the opportunity to try it so that they can really understand what it is that we do and love. And I think that for the most part in the beginning, they don't even really understand exactly what it is. And then they get out there and they see it. They see the camaraderie between people. They see the kids there. They see fun, and
Right.
we have so many stories of the fun turning into a career, a passion for an entire lifetime that then is shared with children and grandchildren. So, yeah, it'd be hard to go to a club field with a bunch of people who are passionate about this hobby and not feel some kind of way where you want to be a part of it and learn more.
Right.
Welcome to my porch.
There it is. I figured he was
right there. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and that's I saw Randy on here says let's see, says this is great. Somehow we need to get new people watching. We are too inward focused, and I believe that was the case even as early as 5 years ago. But I also know that especially now, with all of us having some time on our hand, I don't expect everybody to be big old crackhead about it like I am and share nothing but aviation stuff all day long, every day, every 5 seconds. But take the time, get on social media, because I'm telling you, folks, those of you that don't understand, social media is a huge tool for us.
Yeah.
Share the stuff on your social medias. Don't, a lot of people share stuff internally to the groups. I see it all the time. They'll post stuff into these groups, and a lot of these groups don't allow sharing outside of the groups. So post the stuff right out on your social media stuff, and let people that aren't airplane nerds see it.
Yeah,
That's
I totally agree with that. I mean, we can come up with content and share content, and but AMA is a community, so we do need the support of all of our members sharing. I mean, I know my friends say I share like model airplane stuff all the time, but um, it's just what you have to do. Like, let's use this time to get more people involved.
Exactly. Now is the perfect time, because we've all got some time on our hands, whether we like it or don't. We've all got some time on our hands, and now's the perfect time to hit that share button or to grab the story. And it doesn't have to be, like for me, again, kind of a crackhead about it, but there's a lot of stuff out there that's not necessarily related to the RC hobby. It's all about aviation in general. So share all that stuff, and people, believe it or not, now that people are going to be here more, they may not slide past that stuff as often as they did. They see something that looks a little bit interesting. You might click it, which might have, oh, that looks cool, I should check that out more. It's a huge tool. I mean, we've seen it. I know everybody in this room right now has seen the effects of how social media can really help push things out there, and the amount of people now that are on this. See, and that's part of the problem, I think, is we've lost the ability. I can remember even back when I got started in, which was only a few years ago, really, they still did the mall shows where they would take the airplanes to the mall, and people would come by and they would see it and they would get interested in that kind of stuff. So we've lost a lot of the availability to do that, because those malls and those places aren't there as much as they were. Now we have
the mall, the living room. Yeah,
exactly.
Right there.
They can sit right there in their pajamas and flip through all the stuff. So, an idea for a club: go to your clubhouse or go to where you set up and set up all your airplanes and walk through it like they would see it if they were at the mall. Take your camera, walk through, show them the airplanes, tell them what it does, tell them what it has, have the people in the club get involved and talk about their airplanes and how they do it and what got them started and all this stuff. And if we all start doing that, then people will come. They'll come just based on interest alone. So these are all things
hard to get people interested in model aviation. It really isn't. You just have to give them the opportunities and make those opportunities easy. It used to be the mall show. It used to be like setting up a kiosk and saying, check this stuff out. How awesome is this? Come out to our field. Here's some directions. And now, there's so much content on YouTube, and really right now people are finding it, because what else are you going to do? Right.
Right.
And I have to believe that this is going to create a groundswell of interest in what we do. And I think the biggest thing is that clubs and individuals be welcoming, that we take the time to answer a new guy's question, that we take the time to come alongside of someone and show them, hey, this is actually, the right glue to use here. And, oh, your foam melted, whatever it is. That's because you didn't use foam safe. I know it's a thing. Here's what you do, and go to the website, show them. Just be willing to teach people, because so much of the stuff that we know as modelers that oh, well, you use this for that, they don't know that. They don't know what a vertical stabilizer does. They don't know why an airfoil matters, or so just be willing to really embrace the idea of no question is a dumb question in model aviation.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot more of that contact. We were actually just talking about this. I had Obihan Benobi on last night in his shop, and the guy is a master. I mean, he literally is
so quick.
It's insane how he builds. It's crazy, and he hates for me to plug him like that, but it's the truth. If you want to know how to build something, he's the guy to ask, because he has done it all and he is a master. But we were talking about that very same thing, and that's how I got started with the live post. And this was even before the whole coronavirus thing took over. If I'm sitting in my bench and I pick up a tool, I talked about this with the Dubro guy. If this is laying on my bench and I pick it up and I use it to bend some fuel tube, I do a video. Hey, that's what this is. This is a fuel tube bender. You can use it to set up your tanks. It makes it super simple, and you can bend your fuel tube and it doesn't kink, and it's easy. It takes 5 minutes. So if more of us do it, and I have been seeing a lot more, I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, a lot of guys are doing these little quick tutorials on what they might consider rudimentary things. But guess what? That person that's never done this sees that video and they say, you know what? I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy.
Thing. Yeah.
That's how we get this rolling.
Yeah, for sure. And directing people to those, content streams that are quality, and I don't mean if you've got 1 million subscribers. I mean, if you know what you're doing and know what you're talking about, and being able to say, hey, here's how you do it. Let me shoot you 3 or 4 links. There you go. If you got questions, call me up. Let's make this happen. I can walk you through it as on the phone, and that's what's so great about this community and this hobby. Like, there is a lot of stuff I don't know about, and I'll be the first to admit it, right? But through the community of the Academy of Model Aeronautics and just the modeling community in general, like, we've got such a depth and breadth of knowledge that we can access, and it's easy to do so.
Yeah, it's very cool how that's set up. And Carl says they have a library day in the summer that they set up at the local library. And on Friday, they have kids come out on Saturday to do flight simulators and the buddy boxes. He says they usually get about 60 to 100 kids.
Oh, wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that kind of
great.
a turnout for that kind of event is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you see it in their faces, like the events and stuff that we've done down at the AMA and the ones that we do here locally. You can see it in the kids' faces. I take my granddaughter out to the field and you can just see the eyes light up. They're just like, that's cool. Can I ride in that? That's what they do. So,
yeah.
Oh, she asked me that all the time. Can I ride in that one? Can I ride in that one?
I still ask my wife, and she's like, "No, Kyle, you can't."
Of course, right? Of course, Papa's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And Mom and
I think it's a good time to remind people too that AMA encourages you to do events like that, and we even provide funding in some cases. So right now, Kyle mentioned earlier that our scholarships and grants, including the TAG grant, which is a Take Off and Grow grant, which is specifically for clubs looking to do education programs. All that's under review for this year's applications, but that's going to open up again. So use this time to start planning now, and go ahead and apply and get some money to help you with those projects and to make it even bigger in the future.
Yeah. And one of the things that I always try to tell people too, if you're like hosting an event at the library and you see like that 1 or 2 kids and you're, usually it's a club event and you've got several of the club guys out there that have been in it for years. And you see the couple, 2, 3 families that are super into it. Which one of us doesn't have an old trainer laying around that we could, repurpose? Hey, here you go. Let me get your start in the hobby. Because you're giving them something magical. You're not giving them an old beat up trainer that will fly. Like, you don't want to set them up for, for failure. You want to give them success, but to be able to give them that chance in this object and say, look, you're pouring some time and energy into it. I'm going to reward that. And I'm also going to come alongside of you from 6 feet away. I'm going to come alongside you and we're going to go to the club field and we'll meet you on these days. And, you look at Horizon Hobby Flight Training Program. They're doing a great job. You look at what AMA has done with our trainers and trying to get people out there who are the go-tos that can come out there. And it's not usually the person that's the best pilot. Like, I am by no means an expert pilot, but I can go out there and I can teach. I can teach the fundamentals. I can teach the safety. And that's what people need. And when they get that kind of a gift, it's a gift that begets giving as well. Because once they're into it, they're going to move it along too. So,
yeah, excellent. So, and that's one of the things I wanted to point this out. Carl says the moms and dads get hooked into it, and they're there too, and that happens a lot. I'll see the dad show up, and the dad's on the simulator or on the flight line, and the mom's like, "Okay, it's time to go," and he's like, "No, I want to stay." But to Kyle's point, I do that all the time. I have people constantly ask me, hey, what do I do to get started in building? And the first thing that turns them off is I tell them, well, you want to start off with like a Stick 40 or the Student Trainer, because these are designed to help you learn how to build airplanes. And, well, I don't want a trainer. I'm like, I understand that. Everybody wants the cool P-51 or the cool third scale DR1 to fly. But what you do is you use that to learn how to build, and then you take it and you give it to a kid that shows up at the field. If you don't want the trainer, that's totally fine. Take
Somebody
it,
will.
give it to that kid. Let that kid take it and learn to fly with it. They would be more than appreciative of getting something that they could take out and actually learn with.
Yeah.
So,
and
cool.
It's important too. That, like stick building's awesome. That's where I got my start. That's where my roots came from. That's where I learned to read a three view plan. It's been the stone in the pond that's created those ripples in my life, right? And I think we can all point back to some piece of model aviation that really has impacted us, to the core, and given us a set of abilities and a set of problem-solving skills. Jumping back into the education stuff, it really is a STEAM component. It's what better opportunity to learn science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and artistic, being creative. Think about, this will probably work with a servo here. Let's find out. Let's test it.
Let's try it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's really made, there's a lot of programs out there. I know Flight Test does some really cool stuff. Josh and the gang over there,
they really
do a lot of stuff that helps us out. I saw you, and they help people get started with like the cardboard airplanes. They use the foam the foam airplanes a lot.
Golly.
We got to see this full on.
What's up, Kelly?
Hi. Sorry, I had to blow her up full screen so that everybody could enjoy that as much as I was. But there's a ton of programs out there, and that's the key to the whole thing. And, the AMA is spearheading that. And it's our duty as AMA members to support that, because what they're supporting with the STEM and with the education and with the grants and all that stuff that they're supporting is absolutely our life's blood. And if we don't continue to do that, then all that stuff is going to go away. And I don't think any of us want to see that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we're coming up on about 35 minutes. I want to thank my guest for coming on this morning. I want to thank Mandy and Kyle. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for making it fun. Thanks for giving us the information that you have. And I want to thank all the viewers for getting on here this morning and checking us out. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. I know it's going to be a little bit, but as soon as it does, I think we're all going to be busier than what we really thought was going to happen. So.
Yeah, I think so too. Everybody's going to be ready to jump out there and have fun.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all you guys do. I, for one, am 100% support of everything that happens at the AMA and will continue to do so. I hope that everybody listening and looking at my big ugly head does the same thing. So again, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, this weekend is the Toledo 2020 Keep Calm and Bill Sale at Boss USA. All kit accessories that we would have at the show are going to be on sale. Use coupon code Toledo 2020, and you will also be entered in to win a 1/3 scale fully laser cut Sop with Pup kit from Boss USA. Make sure you support the AMA. Go over and check out their programs that they've got going on, and support everything they do. It is in our best interest. Thank you again for watching. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and happy building.